Hello. I want to talk to you today about being chosen by God. We'll entitle this message The Chosen Ones. This will be part one of two parts. And if you are a Christian, if you're a believer in the Lord Jesus Christ today, and you are one of the chosen ones. Remember, Jesus said to his disciples, "You did not choose me, but I chose you." So today, if you are a believer, you can know beyond a shadow of a doubt that the Lord Jesus Christ chose you. And so let's look in 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verses 26 through 29, and see what it says about the ones who God chooses. It says, "For you see your calling, brothers, that not many wise according to the flesh, not many mighty, not many noble are called, but God has chosen the foolish things of the world to put to shame the wise. And God has chosen the weak things of the world to put to shame the things which are mighty. And base things of the world, and the things which are despised God has chosen, and the things which are not, to bring to nothing the things that are, that no flesh should glory in his presence." So verse 26 tells us that not many who are wise according to the world are called to become believers. Not many who are mighty are called to be believers, and not many who are noble are called to become followers of Jesus Christ. Thank God that the verse doesn't say not any. Not any of these people are called, but just some are called. It's just not a lot. It's not very many. So since not many wise and mighty and noble are called, then who is it that is called? Verse 27 tells us that God has chosen the foolish things of this world in order to put to shame the wise. And God has chosen the weak things of the world in order to put to shame the things which are mighty. And God has chosen the base things and the despised things and the things which are nothing in order to bring to nothing the things which are something. And verse 28 says that the things which are despised, God has chosen. The things that are despised. It's a great blessing to be chosen by God. To be one of his chosen ones, it's an enormous blessing. I'm telling you, it's a great blessing to be chosen by God. But it's not necessarily a compliment, right? The Bible doesn't say that the Lord searched all through his great database to find the most worthy ones and call them to be his followers. It doesn't say that the Lord, tried to find the most talented and gifted and intelligent people he could find, and then he called them to be his followers. No, the Bible doesn't say that. It says he looked and he chose the things that were not very important in this world. So if you're chosen by God, if you're a chosen one, let's try to just get an understanding of what this means, right? Who is it that God has chosen? The foolish things, the weak things, the base things, the lowly things, the hated ones, the unimpressive ones, the ones which the world doesn't think very highly of. The things which are not, he says, the people who are nothing. God chooses the unimpressive, the imperfect, the ones that the world does not admire. So, you're a chosen one. Does that make you special? Should you feel proud about it? Probably not. Happy, joyful, extremely excited, but not proud, right? Now, maybe some of you are wise or noble, because 1 Corinthians 1:26 says that not many of you who are mighty or noble are called. It doesn't say not any, right? So maybe some of you could fit into this category, but most of us who are chosen by God fall into the categories that he listed here in 1 Corinthians, right? Most of us are the weak and the unimportant ones, the ones who the world has no expectations for, the ones who don't have much influence. And we tend to think of the beautiful people, the powerful people as being influential, right? We get excited when we hear of some famous actor or singer or somebody being saved. And we think, wow, just imagine their ability to influence other peoples. But, it seems like the Lord doesn't think this way, because most of the people that he calls are the opposite of influential. We think, what an influence this famous person could have. But God doesn't need their influence, and he doesn't seem to be seeking their influence. Jesus himself was born in the smallest tribe, in a small town, unimportant, with an inferior education and no social status at all. The way that God seems to want to reach the world is through the poor. Jesus makes a big deal about the gospel being preached to the poor, not to the influential and powerful. It accomplishes more for eternity, apparently, to bring the gospel to those who have the least and to those who are the least. You know, in China, excuse me, the good news is spreading faster than on any place on earth. And the ones who are preaching the gospel have nothing. The ones who are hearing the gospel and are converting have nothing. You know, the government has all the power there and the money and the greatness, but the church is spreading rapidly among the unimportant and the weak and the fragile ones who are nothing and nobody. A massive revival is taking place in China, and they have no organized Christian music, no radio stations, no amplifiers, hardly any microphones or sound equipment, and often they have no church buildings. They just meet secretly in homes. No seminary training, none of the great things that we think of. Only simple people who know Jesus, who love him more than they love their own lives. In India, it's mostly the lowest caste of people who are converting to Christianity. You know why? Why is it like this? Why does God choose to do it this way? It may seem like it'd be wiser to choose some noble or powerful or famous people because we would think that they'd have greater influence. You know, so we wonder why maybe God would do it this way. You know, we don't know why. He picked us, for example, but he did. And so we ask why. Well, let's read these verses again slowly and carefully and try to see why God does it this way. Excuse me again. It's 1 Corinthians 1, 26 to 29 again. For you see your calling, brothers, that not many wise according to the flesh, not many mighty, not many noble are called. But God has chosen the foolish things of the world to put to shame the wise. And God has chosen the weak things of the world to put to shame the things which are mighty. And the base things of the world and the things which are despised God has chosen, and the things which are not, to bring to nothing the things that are, so that no flesh should glory in his presence. Wow, it's a powerful thing, right? God has chosen the foolish things, that's us, to put to shame the things that are wise. You know, the people who see themselves as wiser than us, who are smarter than us, who see our faith as foolish and stupid and uneducated and childish and just not too smart. So one reason that God has chosen us is because of the sin of pride that fills the earth. He chose us to make a kind of example against the people who are proud, to show them that he is God and not them, to show them the utter emptiness of their strength and their pride. Now, God has chosen the weak things of the world to put to shame the mighty people who are great people, you know, the ones who see themselves as being great. And God has chosen us, you know. He's chosen the weak things of the world to put to shame the mighty. You know, I'm not great, I'm not mighty. Maybe you say to yourself, you're not great, you're not mighty. You're nowhere near to being noble, but he picked you, and he picked me. And to tell you the truth, my friends, I don't really care why he chose me. I'm just so glad that he did. I may never really understand it, but I am so happy he chose me, because now I will be with him forever. You and I, you know, those among us who know him, we will always be with him forever and ever. Even after being there for 10,000 years, there'll be no less time to spend with him forever. So listen, we may be foolish, we may be weak, we may be base, we may be sinful, we may even be an embarrassment to him, but he chose us. And I'm so glad that he did. You know, I'm simple, you're simple, we're unnoticed. I'm as unimportant and irrelevant in this world as a person can be. But he chose me, and I'm so glad that he did. Not many of you are considered to be the cool ones in this world. Not many of you are the ones with real power in this world. You know, not many of you are even considered to be intelligent or wise by this world's standards. But he chose you, and that is more important than any of these other things. You should be very glad that he did. So we'll continue next time. God bless you guys. Have a great Sunday.